Hello and welcome to the somewhat daily backup for Wednesday, the 2nd of December.
That's the
Peter.
one.
I'm a woodsman. I'm with Gus. He's not a woodsman.
No.
What are you?
What am I?
What am I?
You say it. What am
You're
I?
a man. You're a man and a myth and a sex magician.
Forgot I had that.
Until the
Need to
last
update that still, but it's still there. It is still there. How are you?
I'm all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't hear the stream, so I just assume it sounds fine because everything
sounds
plays.
great.
Of course, it plays.
I'm not listening to it either, really. Essentially, so we'll let everyone in the chat.
We're just chatting on Discord.
Tell
I'm
us
going
if
to
it's fine.
blast some game sounds at you soon.
Oh yeah. How is everyone in the chat as well? Nice to see lots of friendly faces, friendly
Fourth
names,
Reaper,
no faces.
Vegabus.
Yeah, all the classics. Obi-Wan Jacoby. I love that one. Just to say. Stop picking your beard, mate. Stop it. Twisting and picking your beard. We were having this discussion before we went live. We were doing...
It's a nervous tick.
Is it? Well, stop being nervous then. Be
Why would I
natural and
stop being
comfortable
nervous?
in front of the camera.
I hate this. Everything we do, I hate.
I was like, Pete, do you want to do the intro? I was like, yeah.
Sure, okay.
Wednesday morning, news morning. No Nick, no Steph, just us, just the boys. Nick would be the boys too. Don't make it gender-based. It's just what I call us.
Yeah, we are the boys of the... he's the dad, and we're the boys.
Correct, yeah.
We're the childish, immature ones that get
That
up
does
to
really
mischief.
sell that. I mean, he's a pretty immature dad as well. Let's go with that.
True.
The boys out on Amazon Prime. Thank you very much, feedback. Is that still getting pushed? I'm sure that's still getting pushed somewhere.
I think that the season's over, but we're waiting for next season. Now I just keep getting like, I can't even remember. Something weird.
Some weird ad. Yep.
It's so annoying. It's so annoying. Isn't it annoying? Like every video you open, it's like you have to watch that 30-second bullshit.
Well, hey, I imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but if you subscribe to a channel, you don't get Stop it. You don't get ads, do you? If you sub to a channel.
Some you still do.
Do we?
Yeah, I believe. I think we're still in a category where.
Oh, okay. I was going to recommend to people, hey, why not try?
You'll get an ad.
I was going to say, use your Amazon, what is it? Your Amazon Prime sub on us, and that way you don't have to watch ads from Amazon. But I'm not sure if that's true.
Do it anyway.
It may still, but do it anyway. Totally.
Why not?
Totally. And then you get to enjoy all the quality content like our regular shows during the week and these classic pieces of news updates on Monday and Wednesday mornings. But of course, Peter, before we get into the news, we have to thank today's Pocketeer patron extraordinaire. Take it away.
Yeah. So today's Pocketeer patron. Why did
he's nervous again.
Difficult?
Pick your beard. That might help.
Why did he make it so difficult to say? Pete's perfect Pocketeer today is McKinley Scott. And I picked McKinley because McKinley is an interesting name that I'd not really seen before.
It's a nice name.
Yeah, and the origins, I had to Google it. The origins are Gaelic, and the meaning is son of the white warrior, learned ruler. So I have assumed that McKinley is the son of the great wizard Gandalf post-resurrection.
Yeah. That makes sense. Sense. What did I see the other day that people were like saying that the whole of the ending of the Lord of the Rings is all based on Pippin tipping that thing into the well in the Mines of Moria. If he didn't do
that's
that,
the catalyst for everything.
That's the catalyst, not for everything, but it was a good point that it was like if he didn't tip the stuff into the well, the Balrog wouldn't have been released. The Balrog wouldn't have then killed Gandalf the Grey. Spoilers, but it's been out for a while if you have the books. And then he comes back as Gandalf the White and uses all these extra special powers to I come back to now at the turn of the tide. Hence
Interesting.
Pippin bucket bit. Although, is that in the books? I've got to reread them. Like, is it Pippin actually doing that, which sets it all off, or is it like?
That's a good question. I don't recall
because it does feel like a nice little theatrical touch rather than something that would have been narratively written.
Isn't it a beautiful sequence?
I might go watch it today now. Let's put it on The Office when we get in the office today. Let's just put it on one of the TVs, just so in the background, and we can just have a bit of Two Towers going off in the background. Yeah, I mean Fellowship, but also Two Towers is the best one. Anyway, we're off topic. McKinley.
Yeah, because of course, like McKinley, thank you so much for being a patron.
Thank you.
You help us make this stuff and help us get distracted with segues about your father.
If there's anything that's going to distract us enough, it's going to be talking about Lord of the Rings. We are really nerds when you boil it down.
Oh my god, I love it so much. I haven't done a full 12-hour. Sorry, distracted again.
No. We can. Have you done all three of them? The extended cuts, all three?
Absolutely.
I enjoyed that I did that, but I don't think I ever want to do that again. I would actually really happily watch the 3 cinematic cuts back to back.
You need to be. I can't watch cinematic cuts anymore. The extended are definitive.
Yeah.
When you go and see how much was added, you're like, oh my god, there's no Oliphant scene. There's no all these scenes that make the film have so much character.
And once you've watched it through like that, then watching the director's cut or the shorter cut, you're like, oh, I thought there was an extra bit here. Did I make that up? Did I read that? No, I haven't seen it once.
No, they're perfection. Extended are perfection. But I'll tell you what else is perfection. Tell you what else is perfection. Tim from the Learn Programming Academy.
Hey, what a segue.
There he is. Tim, of course, is the hero pocketeer from the Learn Programming Academy. Has taught close to 1 million students with his courses, probably over 1 million now, thanks to his supporting of the back pocket. Yeah. Lots of video-based tutorials, so you don't need to read. Super cheap at around $20 each. And you can learn to do things that you could never have imagined without the programming skills that he will teach you.
He's really the Gandalf of coding.
Yeah.
The wise mentor of coding. And you're all his little
McKinley's.
hobbits.
His McKinley's.
Yeah, exactly. He's McKinley's father, and you as the viewers are all the little. You're the fellowship of Back Pocket, and you need to get some coding skills. You need to brush up on that if we're ever going to go on that epic quest together. So why not head over to Tim's website, the Learn Programming Academy. Get your ! Tim's out of the chat, and get some life insurance while you're at it too. I feel like we should just bundle those together from now on. Look after yourself and the people who care about you.
Yeah. And learn to code your own insurance. I think that's the best. That's the future for all of us.
Wow, what a way to really pad out the front of the episode. Should we get into some news then?
Let's get into the news. And the first one is very exciting. The first story we have today is very exciting for you, I'm sure, Angus. I'm sure. Because Nintendo Land, Super Nintendo Land, not just any Nintendo Land, Super Nintendo Land got its unveiling trailer. We've heard about this before, but Super Nintendo Land is a thing and it's happening.
It's real. We got a look at it's like a little a promo thing with some camera angles just showing off some of the actual the corner of the park, because it is part of Universal Studios Japan, and it is being called the Super Nintendo Land Zone, which is just confusing if you ask me.
Land Zone.
Yeah, exactly. So what they were showing off here was that area of the park, and then at least one of the rides, which is the Mario Kart themed roller coaster that's housed within Bowser's castle up in the back corner. Not much information in this trailer per se. No. It's just it's more about just a look at what you would see when you get there. As I said to Pete the other day, I'll give before we get talking anecdotal, I'll just drop some of the information that they delivered as well. So it is part of the Osaka Universal Studios Japan. The Mario-themed roller coaster, you read that, but riders don AR headsets shaped like Mario's cap when they're rocking on the roller coaster, which is pretty cool. So I imagine you have a little heads-up display on how you're doing in the race. And the cars have steering wheels, and multiple vehicles can race alongside each other, but it is an on-rails experience. So it's literally on rails. It's a roller coaster.
So it sounds like it could be there's you get power ups and you can throw stuff. So that's all the stuff that the heads up display is for, which all sounds very cool. I'm sure they've coded there's 8 different versions of how the track plays out, and and whatever cart you get in, you just kind of you're along for the ride, but it feels like you get to interact with it.
I mean, roller coasters are quite intense. In every sense of the term, when you're on them, regardless of having an AR display as a heads up. I think I would like it, as you said, considering this is something that's going to have to be swapped out with people and all that kind of stuff, maybe just a little life counter and where you're your place in the race. I don't know if a full AR visor with interactive elements, your head's doing this on roller coasters. It's a dangerous environment.
I don't think it's going to be it's not the Big Dipper.
No.
It's basically it's dodge 'em, baby.
It's going around the track.
stuff.
It won't be doing any up and downs. It'll just be like giving you the momentum of like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's going to be a pretty tame coaster, I'm sure. And I would be disappointed if like it only had my position, because I'd be like, yeah, I can't do anything about that.
Yeah, I chose
like,
the back
I'm literally
cart.
on
I'm
rails.
coming 8th. Thanks.
Yeah, cool.
What do you think about the rest of the park? Just the look of it in general.
I mean, it looks beautiful, and you're right. Let me pause it on the because we can talk about what we were talking about yesterday now. This is like you see this nice pan back of this corner. Obviously, it's all contained
it's more
in this
of a
area.
tilt, really, if it came from up to down, Peter. But you should know that you're a
It's not really a tilt either. It's a camera move.
Okay.
It's because you can see it pulling back also. Actually, they might be zooming out. And
I don't
tilting.
care anymore. I was just trying to have a go.
You asked, I'll tell.
It's like the pavilion kind of area.
Totally, it's like an amphitheater, and it was hard to get the perspective on it because it's like toys brought to life, made big. Yeah. But the stairs in the background are kind of the giveaway of like, oh, okay, there's like, it's like a large play area.
Yeah. It's funny. Like, my immediate reaction was a mild disappointment as to they kept showing this one shot, being like, oh, it really is what appears to be a corner of a park. Maybe it was just me. It's been so long because this did get delayed due to COVID. But the original announcement had me thinking along the lines of it's a whole park being built as, you know, next to Universal Studios, and maybe they've had to downscale it slightly. And then again, don't like get caught up in trailers like I do, but that trailer they ran for it had people literally sprinting at full speed around, like in a virtual space, like bounding from castles to blocks and like looking right. It's like, no, you're going to go down those stairs under that tunnel to a gift shop and that one ride they have. And also, as I said, like anyone who's been to theme parks in general, anyone who's been to Japan in general, Osaka, lovely city, really enjoyed it. They are going to pack that thing out, like COVID or not. Like that is going to be full of people all battling it out with selfie sticks and that kind of thing. And so, I don't know. I'm also, and I'll make this really short, I was really excited about that Star Wars part of the Disneyland park. And I was like, I would go for the whole, because they're going to build a whole Star Wars themed park. And then when I saw it all, I was like, it's really just a corner again with like 2 rides, a shop, and a prop.
Are you talking about Galaxy's Edge?
Yeah.
That's huge.
It's big-ish, but it's not a park, Peter. And
it's
I
like
want a park. I want a Nintendo Land, not just a Nintendo corner.
No, it's in Disney World. And then they've got like this is
a zone, Peter.
This is smaller than the Star Wars part of Disneyland in Anaheim.
Possibly. Although I did just notice in the background they've added digitally the lightly opacitized extension of the park. If you can see in the back corner.
True. Yeah.
So they've given the illusion of it being a bigger land.
Oh no, that was just I just paused on a dissolve. I just paused on a cross dissolve.
I love for a second there. I was like, I've uncovered the mystery of Nintendo Land Zone.
It's literally just the run frame.
Look, as I said, I'd love to go back to Japan. I really loved Osaka. And if I was there, I would definitely make a stop by here to check it all out. But I'm not buying a plane ticket to Japan. Yeah, swing on by.
We need to get sponsored by Nintendo in a way that we can go and cover the
yes.
Once everything opens back up. The first Australians into Super Nintendo Land after
Nintendo, if you're watching, all my skepticism is just purely here to be debunked by you sending us there so I can be like, it was amazing and it's everything I dreamed it could be. Thanks for the plane tickets. First class, you really didn't need to do that, but I really appreciate it.
Champagne on arrival? Oh.
Let's go.
Let's go.
But yeah, look, it's cool and it is wonderful seeing it all come to life. I'm more excited about those Yoshi ride, that little Yoshi roundabout at the back than the Mario Kart ride. I just want to sit. I'm getting old. I just want to sit in a Yoshi and just
like this interior stuff looks cool. Everything's been designed hardcore. It looks beautiful.
It would be a wonderful thing as a theme park designer to draw from so many video games in their series that just have like there's a solution design wise to everything. It's like, oh, you've got to run some pipes around here. Okay, I'm starting with pipes. You're like, well, we can make them look like Mario. It's like every little brick should be a Mario brick. Every part of the world could use something drawn from that lore and all that just design guide. And it is beautiful. And as I said, everything curved, no sharp edges. You can go there drunk. You can let
your kids bounce off everything.
Yeah, exactly. Kids more important than me going, I could go there drunk. I could just bump into walls and I'll be fine. It still looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving on.
Yeah.
To something else that looks like a lot of fun. Something else that I thought didn't look that great and then actually looked like a lot of fun when I looked into it a little bit more. Today is the final day of Season 4 in Fortnite. And it was celebrated I guess. There was another Fortnite event. They've done these in the past. And this one ties into the Marvel superhero, I should say.
They've still got Marvel heroes in the game.
Well, that's what Season 4 brought
Crazy.
in. They had a bunch of superheroes. And so they've finished the event by doing an epic... they finished the season by doing an epic event, which was battling Galactus, of course, who is the Planet Eater, I believe, in Marvel lore. And so here we're appropriately seeing someone who's got a Silver Surfer style skin battling what turned out to be like a pretty long event, not just a token comet going off or something like that. So Pete, as I talk, maybe if you want to skim through it, because even earlier.
Oh, look at that!
Basically, this hero, I think, this villain had been teased earlier on, and so we're now seeing what happened here, which is you're booted out of the helicarrier. And then you're approached by Iron Man, who has, I swear, is voiced by Nolan North here. If you can hear it, it's very Nolan North-esque. Who I guess did the voice of Tony Stark in the previous Marvel game. Is that right? Or is that a Troy Baker?
I can't really talk because I'll hear myself. But
someone in the chat will know.
Similar, yep.
The cell shading is pretty neat. I think that's just on that costume in particular. But basically what happens is Galactus is drawn to the island, or the Battle Royale island, because of 0 Point. Now, maybe I'll need some more help with this one, but I think 0 Point is like something in the
0
Marvel
Point that we're looking at?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't really know this much about the lore, so it seemed like this was something...
I don't think we should bother talking about the lore because neither of us know Marvel well.
Fair enough.
I guess the cool thing about this, though, like seeing it for the first time, because I haven't even really scrubbed this clip.
Well, if you watch here, this is the bit that you everyone takes their own. If you actually go back just a little bit, you actually everyone's first. You get a little chance where you're first person in your bus, and this person who's playing can like look around and run around the little bus, and then you look out the window and there's thousands of buses,
little buses.
Charging Galactus, and then scrub a little further on, and they start cranking some AC/DC knockoff music a la Iron Man as you do like a trench run around Galactus, doing this like fun little...
I can't hear it again, but...
Oh, okay.
Maybe something.
But yeah, this is to basically round out Season 4, I think, of which, as I said, had a heap of Marvel stuff in it. And then it was, of course, a tease at the very end of this, which was not much to write home about. Essentially, it was a character in a suit waking up. Someone who knows or is currently playing Fortnite might know what that's referring to. It might be another Marvel thing. Little Will, if you're in the chat, let me know. But yeah, I was just impressed by this. It looks like they've really stepped it up. And the rumor has that this is the most, basically, they're going to say it might be the biggest event that they've done, both in terms of player count.
Bigger than Travis Scott?
Bigger than Travis Scott, bigger than Palpatine putting on a movie or whatever that was, playing a trailer.
Christopher Nolan playing the Tenet trailer or whatever. I mean, I don't play Fortnite. I have zero interest in the little bits that I've played of it as well. It's just, I don't find it a fun game. But I wish every game that people loved had this much like cool shit thrown at it, like
totally.
Like events for playing, just for playing. And obviously not everyone can do that because Epic have all of the money, so people can't compete with this. But like, what a cool thing to jump into the game that you love and be like, oh, some event is happening. And like in Destiny 2, the example was, oh, things disappeared on the destination map.
We took things away.
and in this, it's like, oh, just for the hell of it, we're ending the season. Here's Galactus destroying the map that you're standing on.
Everyone has
fly
to like
your
throw
bus
their
and play
bus
the game
into his mouth.
Play the game in a different way. Like, very cool. Speaking of that Travis Scott thing as well, he made like $20 million from that event.
God.
So it's like, this is going to keep happening. It's profitable for the businesses that are working with Epic on this. Like, I'm sure Marvel are doing well out of this as well as
totally.
It's a good joint venture there.
You touched on something there with like live events in online games, I think they can go in very different directions. And a lot of the time, as we've seen with Fortnite, they are tied to a commercial property. They're tied to something that's being promoted. And I like to think gamers and just people in general, the youth of today, are generally savvy enough to realize that it's like when they're being sold something or when they're being given something in a game because it's a cross-promotional kind of deal that's gone on. And I like how Fortnite have approached it in a way that has made it accessible and fun and interesting enough that it feels like it's been thought out with enough to say, hey, we need to leave a good taste in your mouth after this thing has happened. Like, it doesn't just need to be, oh, okay, right, the Mountain Dew blimp was flying over the map for a while or something like that. It's like, no, we're giving you something in terms of gameplay here. It's also, and for me, maybe I'm showing my age here again, but it is nice to see, like, coming from those days of like, oh, there was an update to a map and suddenly a wall that was there is no longer there or something like that. To be able to do something where it feels like your character in that world, everyone obviously played it through the same way and got that same cutscene, but you feel centralized to what is happening and everything else around you feels like that was what's happening for everyone else. It's just a very cool experience and a way to sell something to a mass universe, to be like, you're the hero in this, which is how I feel about myself in real life. But it's nice to see it represented in a game. And
to be part of the evolution of a game is a cool thing, because it doesn't. There are very few games that allow that to happen, and most of them are MMOs. Yeah, and even then, it's like you were just there for it, not participating. Or you're there in an instance
with 10 other people all standing around it doing a dance, and it's like,
or the cutscene plays and the cataclysm happened, and now it's like, and now the world has changed, as opposed to like you being actively a part of that event.
Which I think is what kind of happened with that first Fortnite thing. There was like a comet tore it apart and you could all stand on the map and watch it, but it was like you and the other 90 people that were there, but it was happening in every instance. So it's cool that they've evolved it and they've turned it into more of a story thing. I will say, like, I had a really good run with Fortnite back in the day, and I say this with a lot of games that just keep evolving when it was a bit simpler. I haven't touched it since Fortnite 2.0 with all that stuff. I'm sure it is still really fun to play, but that skill level is so high and there's so many new things in it. Like, there's fishing, there's boats. I mean, that shouldn't really overwhelm me, but
did they, I assume, go hand in hand?
Sure.
Do you fish from the boat, or
you have a fishing rod? This is old news, where you can like fish things out of the water while a battle royale happens around you. Oh, it boggles the mind.
It boggles the mind.
Yeah, very cool. People who play Fortnite, I'm sure, enjoy that.
Absolutely. The next piece of info we've got for you is that Baldur's Gate 3 is remaining to be one of the weirdest game launches in history.
How so?
Well, hang on. I got to update the bloody is weird. I got to update this thing. Here we go. Whoop. There it is.
You type them now. So if anyone has any suggestions for headlines, Pete can just type them in.
Yeah, just shout them out. So Patch 3. Larian announced that Patch 3 for Baldur's Gate. Context for people who aren't aware, Baldur's Gate 3 is in like an early access release. People paid full price for the game to play it early, and they're playing their character through the first act of the game, like 40 hours of content or something like that. But the game is still being developed while people are playing through this like scaffolding of a game that's finished. And Larian announced it was kind of like the end of last week that Patch 3 was coming. And with it, your cup is frozen. You look like you're just very interested and drinking deeply as you listen. Maybe give yourself an F5. Refresh your VMix call. But Patch 3 is the first patch that is bringing changes that affect the story. And this is from their blog post. Unfortunately, this means Patch 3 will introduce the first save incompatibility transitioning to the new version. So in short, players who have been putting hours and hours and hours into this first act, that save file will no longer be valid in updates going forward.
Remind me again, because I know we've talked about this numerous times. I know Steph's playing a lot of this and really enjoying it. Was this a thing where your early access save could transfer through to the full release game? No, I don't think so. I think that's where we left it. It was like, no, actually, you will have to restart the game from the beginning. Steph was like, that's really cool. That's fine. I'm happy with that. But now you're saying there's a save here that with that patch will no longer allow you to be compatible with the previous version of the early release?
The newest version of early release, your save file, you need to start a new character basically.
Sure.
Your save files from the old instances of the build no longer work. However, players will have the option to remain on to keep basically parallel universes running for at least the foreseeable future, where they can keep playing their patch 2 characters. While patch 3 now branches off that's why I'm saying it's weird.
Oh my god, you're right. This is a bit fucked. Like
someone's paid $90 and is sitting in front of their computer like, what?
Also, like, as a game that's not like, hey, here's this 10-hour super fun replayable kind of experience of a game. It's like, no, this is an 80-hour minimum RPG, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like with in-depth character building, RPG elements, decision making the whole way through. And I guess people who are fans of these games or styles of games like this, you've Divinities and stuff that I've played in the past, people do like to replay them and go through and make different decisions and build other characters. But wow, as just a point of entry, it's not appealing for me now to go like, maybe I will jump on this whole early access train. Like, it's made me even more want to stand back and be like, you know what? I'm not even going to wait for full release. I'm going to wait for full release and then a bit of patching after that, and then I'm going to jump on board.
Yeah, totally. I mean, they were really upfront in their defense. They were really upfront at the start of it and were like, don't get into this if you want to have your save carry through and you want this to be a clean experience. You're basically beta testing for us while we build the game, which it feels like a shitty process. But,
it is, but you're right.
You should be paying people to beta test your game, not people paying you to. But that's the model that works to make sure that they can build the game. Yeah. That's fine. Whatever. Right.
There are people who are interested enough. A good relationship with their audience, and it is about providing a lot of content eventually.
Yeah. And but yeah, I imagine like if I had put 40 hours into the game to try and play through Act 1, had put a bunch of time into developing a character, this would definitely take the wind out of my sails. It would be quite devastating. So I haven't actually spoken to Steph about it, but I will chat to her today, and I'm sure she'll be frustrated.
Yeah. Oh man, that's intense. Yeah. I mean, yeah, like still even looking at this trailer and knowing the work that these guys have put into this game and the love for this series, I am still really keen to play it. But as I just said, it's definitely gone from an arm's distance to like I've taken a few paces back, and I'm like, just get your shit in order, all right? And then come get me when you're ready, Baldur's Gate.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, going from mind flayers in Baldur's Gate 3 to deep minds.
Ooh.
I don't segue all the time now, but when I do,
you make them work.
I do. DeepMind, of course, is the artificial intelligence that has been used in the past to do superhuman feats such as, play chess, I'm sure, other things like that. That's what they all do, right?
Totally. But famously, StarCraft, no living human can beat it at StarCraft.
Right. Okay, right. The chess of today, really.
It totally is, though. Totally is.
DeepMind, the AI program, has now... also, the AI intelligence has now successfully shown scientists this sort of the way to something that's baffled scientists for a long time is the idea of protein folding, which is basically the latest AI program, AlphaFold. A company has basically worked out that they can predict the way that proteins fold into 3D shapes, which is something that occurs naturally. And this is a really complex process. And basically, if you can understand that, you understand the fundamentals of sort of the biological machinery of life. So it's like, it's this thing that happens at a primordial ooze level, I believe, almost. I'm not a scientist, if you can't tell by now. And I'm especially not
Tell me more about the primordial ooze.
It's not about your primordial ooze science. But basically, this is something that happens in nature that scientists have been baffled for a long time. This AI has now sort of solved that, and that's sort of brought them closer to understanding it. And by knowing that, we'll be able to do things like develop designer medicines, and create sort of, I'm sure, genetic crops that are more successful. And the thing that I found really exciting is they might be able to work on what are known as green enzymes, which I did a bit of research into, which is basically enzymes that break down plastics, which I thought would be, I mean, don't get me wrong, designer drugs to cure diseases, that's important. Nutritious crops, you got to make the broccoli even more, nutritious. That's also important. But if you can break down plastics, I'm like, my God, the good that could do for the world would be amazing.
So, this discovery is being touted as potentially world-changing.
We're overdue for one of them.
We are overdue for one of them, and in a good way, not in a COVID way. In fact, so there's scientists have long recognized the need for this kind of capability in scientific research, in biological research, in order to combat disease and help us develop new systems of growing crops and grains and stuff. It's been since 1994 that it's been a pressing issue for the biological community, and this is a critical assessment of structure prediction. Was a system set up in 1994 in order to log how well scientific formulas were doing in terms of recognizing protein structure. They were sitting 40%.
I'm with you. That headline is I just read our headline.
Protein folding a reality.
No, the one.
Oh, Gus keeps digging. Someone else put that, suggested that. You suggested that people should suggest, and I just followed their lead.
This is true.
So it's been 16 years that they've had this summit every year, where scientists from all around the world submit their efforts in trying to improve this field. It was 2017 that AI became part of the process, and since then the success in prediction has spiked hard. And this year was the first year that DeepMind AI achieved a greater than 90% accuracy in predicting the structure of proteins with their AI tool. And even last year was 70%.
You've got to think you get to a point with this kind of science. Again, not a scientist, either is Peter, but there's got to get to a point where just human exhaustion of how far the human brain can go at maybe I'm going to go out on a limb here, extrapolating data, looking through hundreds of variables. That kind of stuff is when AI can really step in. And I imagine there's also the prediction element to it, which I think is really fascinating, but also just doing that grunt work as well must be an amazing way to cut down on just the toll on these scientific minds and really progress it to a level that you see that spike in that.
Certainly speed. Of testing samples and stuff. The sample that they used this year was actually a coronavirus.
Oh, wow, really?
It was a protein from a coronavirus, not 19. I think it was COVID-2 or something like that.
Right.
But just interesting that they were able to be that successful.
Totally.
And it's all thanks to this DeepMind AI being trained against the world's best StarCraft players. This is this software, well, this intelligence that they were developing was trained from infancy in video games. And it's cool that the systems of video games were good, problem-solving systems that helped it develop to the point that it is now. So we're going to claim it. Gamers can claim that we saved the world.
Come on.
Yeah, totally. Gamers saved the world.
But I love the idea that there's so much incredible scientific work going on here, and all I'm picturing is someone going... Nah.
The space-time continuum is in my boogers.
But great news, good news. Maybe some good news to kick things off for 2021. Gamers save the world. I like that headline. Well done. Pete, you can talk about the next one as well, because
you don't care. You don't you can't take advantage of it.
I can't take advantage of any of it yet.
Yeah. So there is a on Xbox Wire, their Xbox news platform. They just announced the new Xbox dashboard. It started to roll out. And there's some, it's basically just, this is a short story. There's quality of life things, games tell you when auto HDR is working. Your library now displays when games are optimized for Series X and S, which it did for some things in the store, and now it does better in the library. And there's also some good family features when you're setting up the console. But the thing that I think is cool is that you can preload games in the Game Pass now.
That's really interesting.
So, yeah, the latest patch is going to let people get ahead of everything in the Game Pass downloads, which we still need to do in Australia, preload stuff, because it's just such a nightmare.
I was going to say, has there never been any preloading with any games that's been on the Xbox store? I thought maybe there was the possibility to preload, but I might be wrong in saying that. I feel like if they make it an actual feature, it's something that hopefully more games take advantage of. But there's obviously a limit to how early you can preload, like, a couple of days at max, I would have thought. But everything helps, especially when you're on Australian internet.
Yeah, totally. It's hang on. This is the Wire thing that are coming soon. So it's like when they announce the titles, which tends to be at the start of every month, they're like, here's what's coming soon, and the end of every month, they're like, here's what's coming soon, here's what's leaving next month.
Right, got it.
So not all games that are coming soon can be pre-installed, but the ones that can't be pre-installed early, I think is a developer side thing.
Sure, and might be ones because often. Oh, sorry.
But I was going to say the ones that can't do that, you can with the mobile app set it up so that it will install day one. Like as soon as it's available, so you're asleep and it's 1 a.m. The app says, "Oh, I'll turn the console on and download the game."
Yeah, great. Obviously, as part of the Game Pass games that get released each month, there's a huge portion of that library, or not a huge, but a number of them are often games that are already out. So obviously that's what leads them to be able to say, oh, we can make those releases. And then when it gets bundled with a game that's a new release. Sorry?
Spazra says, can you pre-unload the Leaving Soon games?
That's brilliant.
I thought like that's a funny joke, but also in reality, that would be handy to go like, oh, just delete this. Like,
totally.
I don't know if it does auto delete games from your hard drive.
I didn't know they were kicking games off the Leaving Soon that actively. Because I've seen games that are sitting in Game Pass that have just been there for ages. Like,
yeah, totally.
I feel like
they've often 12-month deals, and eventually it rolls around that thing's going to leave. But that's actually clever.
That is. I don't want to sound too much like Nick here as well, but I just went through the Game Pass again because a friend of mine got an Xbox Series X, and he's like, "Hey, what game should I get?" I got the Game Pass, and so a bunch of us who all play stuff together were like, oh, well, let's go through the library together. Instead of going through as an individual being like, oh, what might I play? That kind of thing. We went through specifically looking for stuff to play together. And yeah, now that it is bundled with EA's Game Pass as well, or EA Play or whatever they call that, yeah, it was kind of a surreal moment to go through and just be like, okay, well, let's all play. Like, we put a heap of like sports games in together. We got like Forza 4 Horizon, like Sea of Thieves. And just like overnight, I just went, yep, cool. But like, dung, 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 and just listed off like 10 games on it or something, cleared my hard drive and just went to bed and got up in the morning and like, cool, I now know that me and my other friends all have these like eight or nine games together, which is a huge part of my life playing multiplayer games with friends. It's always that like, hey, I got this game, it's really good, you should get it too so we can play it together. And they're like, nah, I don't want to. And it's like, oh, I just wish there was a much more like, a simpler way to say you should play this game too, give it a quick shot. So yeah, I can't not champion Game Pass as more than I already am. Like, it is like definitely a defining factor of what Xbox are doing next year. Well, this year. Totally.
There's some good games coming to Game Pass this month as well. It's like Control, which I've been playing. Is hidden finally. And Doom Eternal is, I think, tomorrow coming to Game Pass.
Yeah, great.
So, a lot of big games.
As I said, with the EA one as well, like I always like sports games, but the price doesn't drop on them for a long time. And it's that thing that there's always iterative versions. And I'm like, I'd love to have a soccer game. I love ice hockey games, like even an NBA game, a golf game. I'm just like, cool, UFC, just went through and got all of them now. So whether or not they're all great, doesn't matter. It'd be a fun thing to play with friends. And it's just it's a weird way to look at a game store now and just be like, cool, I'll take those 10 today.
Yeah, sorry. And yes, the Control is only on Xbox Game Pass, not PC Game Pass at the moment.
Right.
It's going to be weird. I think forever. I'm not going to say it'll sort itself out. I think forever, just in terms of the deals that these companies are making. Like, the Control and Epic have some deal that it's only on the Epic Game Store on PC for now, and so it is like it's always like read the fine print.
Totally. And one of the games we saw there that will be coming to Game Pass on Xbox, is already on Game Pass on PC, is, of course, Microsoft Flight Simulator.
I believe it's already on Xbox, right? It's a first-party game, so why wouldn't
Yeah, right. I think they were waiting until Xbox Series X dropped.
Could handle until they had an Xbox system that can handle it.
Good point.
Yeah, fair.
Well, now, as of an update on December 23rd, they are going to add the wonders of virtual reality to Microsoft Flight Simulator. So you will now be able to take to the cockpit and stare at all your instruments in virtual reality. Wait, do you think I was going to say something rude?
I mean, it was getting close to being sexy.
It was.
It didn't quite get there, though. Cool update for this game. Like, that's how I want to be in Flight Sim.
No, I hard disagree with you here.
Interesting.
Like, the cockpit is the boringest part of Flight Sim. It is, for a second, I know, your dad's a pilot, all that kind of stuff, but it's like you go, look at this just amazing world. Look at this, like the scenery and the clouds and the sunset. Let's go in the plane. And not only can you not see out of the plane's cockpit, but you're always kind of like, you're always under the tools looking up. And so you're just like, I want to look at that horizon.
If you can't calibrate properly, of course it's going to be a pain in the ass. But
we know I can't.
But this is sick, because the worst part of Flight Sim at the moment for me, and I've only played it like a couple of hours on PC, and I wanted to get a like stick set up, like throttle set up, and VR will help as well, because like the thing that I found the most challenging is reading the instruments with the stick, because your head looks down and it's like, and then it auto sets back up or whatever, and it's like it's actually the most challenging part of the game.
Yeah, if you want to, like, to be fair,
camera.
I do not play this game as a sim. I've been playing it as an arcade game, just to enjoy the scenery and the planes that I'm in. And you're right, if you are a true sim fan, which a lot of people who play this are, they do want to be as close to that one-on-one experience of being able to read all the instruments. Also, do you think if you got that set up, you should definitely have your dad round. I totally clipped his wing on that.
I had my dad round to play. I think I recorded a little clip of it, actually.
Oh, really? But I mean, put him in VR and doing it as well. I think it would be bloody funny. I would watch a stream of Colin Burns in VR flying Melbourne to Sydney. The most exciting of all routes.
He would love that. He doesn't do that every frickin' day. He doesn't at the moment. Maybe he misses it. Maybe he hasn't done that in 6 months.
Remind me, because it's coming to VR, it'll obviously be on PC. So what VR headsets are we thinking will be compatible with this? Because the developer, who are Zobo Studios, said it'll be available on all devices.
Yeah.
So if we're talking
they
PC...
They said that because initially it was going to be... Initial announcements about it were that it was going to be restricted to the... Microsoft mixed reality device, whatever the hell that is.
Yeah, what was that thing called again?
Oculus?
No. The HoloLens.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's going to be that.
No,
though maybe. But yeah, it's going to be available to all devices.
You could get on a Qantas flight and there'll be a pilot with a HoloLens and he'll be like, I'm coming first and I have a blue shell. And you're like, oh, shit. Little callback to the first news story there.
The Osaka Universal Studios Park. Very nice.
This is not a good flight we're watching, by the way. Is this your dad?
This is not my dad.
Okay, just checking.
Dad did he flew a Cessna out of Bankstown Airport.
Classic Colin.
classic Colin move.
But yeah, so it's currently announced to be available on all devices, but we're looking at, I assume, what is a mixed reality device?
Like AR.
Sure. Okay.
But yeah, the first compatible device manufactured by HP, the HP Reverb G2, is apparently a mixed reality device.
Okay. Sounds successful.
Yeah. There's so much going on in the VR space. It's all very good.
This is true. Will you give this a go, Peter?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've got the Oculus Quest 2. I'll plug it in and take it for a spin, because I don't use the Oculus for anything else.
Fair enough. Cool. I wonder, can you do the VR view like that and the behind the plane?
Oh, behind the plane.
Like I'd be into that.
like the tail cam on the
yes,
when you're like really bored, you've watched all the shit movies and you're like, oh, there's still 8 hours to go to get to LA.
I wonder what's on the tail cam. Nothing but white clouds and blue, like nothing. You're like, oh yeah, the vast emptiness of nothing.
Oh yeah, we're throttling through the air in a metal shell.
Yeah,
it's
still more fun. It's still more entertaining than watching Hobbs and Shaw for the third time. So yeah, I'll just keep on tail cam. Did Peter freeze because it was a really good joke? Has Peter frozen? I think he has. Have I frozen? I can't hear Pete and he stopped moving. Pete's frozen. Oh God, this is nerve-wracking. Well, if I'm Gus, say what you want, Dust Bunny. Thank you. This is interesting. This is the first time this has happened. But if I'm still running, that's a real worry because I guess I'm still running out of the work computer. Gus, Phil, says Skiverick. I can filibuster all I need to. But I might just double check with Pete on the comms and make sure he's okay. Whether or not my Hobbs and Shaw joke was just far too relevant, far too witty, and just sent him into fits of laughter that have meant he's pushed his computer off the table and there will be no Peter for the rest of the stream. We'll see how we go. Gus has all the power. You guys know this is what I wanted from the beginning. So let me just double check with him and see what he's got to say. I won't push on with the news just yet because I'll wait for press F for Pete. Gus breaks the internet. I will. I'll just wait to see what he's going to do there before we kick on. But yeah, it's the Solo Gus show. How are you all? Welcome to the now. This is like the lighter news at the end with the. Well, I guess we do that with the leftovers, don't we? So maybe this is more like the weather, where it just cuts from two people talking, and they're like, now over to Gus with Panic talking. And I'm like, thanks very much, guys. It has been a busy morning. And so, hey, there's some voice, but no image. I was going to tell everyone about my nap this morning. Yeah, you're still... Hey, there he is.
I can't see the broadcast. I'm not remotely
napping.
in the computer yet.
Here's how I napped this morning.
Tell me about it.
If you need to still fix something, I tried to be responsible this morning, guys, and I got up.
The plane's still in the air,
6.
thank God. Oh, sorry, it's on a different screen. Yeah, it was on this screen.
I got up at 6 in the morning. I went to the gym. I came back. I was like, going to get a good start in the day. Had a shower, laid down on the bed in just a towel, as sex magician tradition. And I fell asleep for 2 hours and then got up to do the news. So I failed again at being a responsible adult. And I slept all morning. Peter.
We were having this discussion on the show last week, right? About, was it maybe post-show? Maybe it was a post-show chat about how, you need to just be more reactive to your alarm and listen to it.
Yeah, but now I am. I went to bed at 10:30 and I was like, cool.
Back to sleep.
And I woke up at 5 and I was like, the day is mine. To the gym I go. And then I came back, I was like, and now I'm totally out of whack. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, well, glad you're back.
I think everything's back online.
I do. Did you like my Hobbs and Shaw joke?
I did. I said 3 times. Good effort. And
we didn't hear it. You just went to.
Yeah.
Like, maybe he's a massive Hobbs and Shaw fan, and I've offended him. They should not make any more of those films. Moving on to our final story of the day.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad.
It is, but it's also a nice-spirited thing.
It is.
So Star Wars fans would have seen this week David Prowse, who is known as he was the physical portrayal of Darth Vader, this giant hulk of a man. He was like the UK strongman 3 years, champion strongman for 3 years in a row. He passed away at 85.
Good innings.
Which is a good innings. And obviously he did some fun things in his life. But there's still a very avid Star Wars The Old Republic community. And they sweetly held a memorial for him in one of the squares. I'm not sure where. Kind of looks like a Sithy Coruscant. And took a minute's silence and to respect the Dark Lord of the Sith, Lord Vader himself.
Who came good in the end.
He did come good in the end.
From the beginning, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying.
And that wasn't David Prowse under the helmet either. It's there's so many versions of Darth Vader.
Yeah, I was going to ask, we know that he was Vader in the original trilogy. I assume, unlike I want to say Pete, who was Chewbacca?
Pete Mayhew.
Pete Mayhew continued reprising that role as Chewie.
And Anthony Daniels is still C-3PO. Yeah,
oh, God, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I think, it was just those originals, if I believe. And one of the, kind of like, it's more of a well-known fact now than it was originally, is that he voiced all the lines during the film, or at least for A New Hope, I believe, and believed during his performance that his voice was going to be used in the final film. I think that stopped after, well, it would have stopped after the first film because they definitely replaced him. But he has probably the polar opposite voice of James L. Jones, who is a deep voiced Black American actor. He is a white, I think almost slightly Welsh sounding Brit.
Yeah, I think he had an Irish twang.
Yeah, an Irish twang, or maybe the Gaelic in there as well. I don't know why I tried to pull off an accent. But I think there are some takes, you can look them up online, where he's doing those famous lines, and it's not quite sort of, I'm mixing it up with the cut that someone did with Snatch, where they got the old guy with the glasses. It's not that, but it was kind of close.
Yeah. You're part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away. And it's like,
I don't think it was even that posh. I think it was more like, oh, right, you're part.
No, he's pretty posh. He's not. Okay. He's not.
Wasn't Vinny
Snatch.
Jones.
It's not Snatch. But he definitely doesn't sound threatening. And also because because they went to the recording studio to ADR all of Vader's lines, obviously. Sure. The stuff that they got on set was muffled by a mask as well. So it's this sounds like a tiny British man. Well, I mean, a large British man behind a tin box.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, that's the bad guy.
And you would,
but the physical performance of it, like the fist in Empire, it's like James L. Jones didn't even get credited on, I think, all three of the original films, because he himself said that the defining performance of Vader is the physical performance, not the vocal performance. So he was not credited. Obviously, everyone knows James L. Jones is the voice, and it may have just been their first film, and because it blew up, he was credited going ahead. But
that's amazing. And I'm sure in every version of it that's come out since the 90s, like I want to say, since they started fucking with the films, has put James L. Jones in the credits, even though he specifically asked not. George was like, no, I'm going to put you back in.
I think Greedo in the shootout scene now says, James L. Jones, before he shoots.
Very good, very good. Finally on that, I would have said, like, it's totally within David Prowse's mindset to think, I'm going to be used in this film because everyone else on the Death Star in the Empire is British. Like, they're all that, like, toffee British kind of thing. So he's like, I totally fit in here. This is totally... They're not going to get a deep American accent for my character, are they?
Yes.
But apparently they did. So there you go.
We finish at 11:30. You know this. What are you doing? It's 11:22.
Are you getting rushed off the news?
I'm back up on 4G.
All right.
You got to help him.
I know, but I have questions I need to ask you about the NBN.
Ask him in 8 minutes.
Okay.
Are we going to rush through the end of the news then?
Yeah.
Peter's in hot demand.
We've got the NBN are here to service our line, and potentially it's a part of the process of upgrading it. So
is that why you cut out before? He's like, no.
I asked him, I was like, I'm gonna be like doing a live broadcast, and I need the internet set up, and he's like, it'll be fine. I'm sure he cut the wrong wire.
Cuts that, the house next door blows up. Well, yeah, a really lovely tribute from fans of Star Wars and who are still playing that game, apparently. Should we burn through the leftovers, Peter?
We can burn through the leftovers. Let's super burn through the leftovers.
Cool, because I didn't want to skip this first one.
This first one? Have you seen it?
I have. I don't care.
That's why I don't want to
skip it.
It's a $100 collector's edition Pokeball, and it looks beautiful. It lights up. It's huge. It's like obviously the expanded, not the little ball that sits on the belt. It looks super cool. $100, that's a bargain. It's probably US though. But the manufacturer says this is like the caveat. This Pokeball must never be thrown. This Pokeball is not a toy. It is a collector's display piece designed for display only. It has a premium finish. It is made of heavy die-cast metal and should be handled with care. Throwing the Pokeball will damage it and may injure someone.
I mean, it's just a ball, mate. Like, it's a well-made ball. I will say it's a testament to Nintendo's property being iconic. Like, totally. What are they called? Not Game Company, with the guys who make it. Made Pokemon.
They're called the Pokemon Company.
Pokemon Company, yes. Like, it is a testament to how iconic something can be, that it's a plastic ball with a light in it, and people are like, oh, I'm sorry, it's a metal ball. And people are like, oh, I want it. And they're like, don't throw it at anyone, which is specifically what you do with Pokeballs. Like, you throw them at things. Totally. And it's like, don't ever throw it. But yeah, I guess it's pretty.
Yep. And the other thing was that Doom Eternal obviously is coming to Game Pass, but also it's coming to Switch. Now you can finally play. Now you can finally play it, Gus, at a full 18 frames a second.
Look, I appreciate you putting this here. I like that the game is coming to all consoles, and I think Switch owners who don't have any other consoles, this is a lovely thing for them if they want to play Doom Eternal. I played maybe like a third of the game on Xbox. So again,
look how balls it looks.
I mean, it looks fine because I'm watching the stream, or I'm watching the VMix. Yeah, look, it's probably not going to run as best. Like, it definitely will not run as well as it runs on everything else. The reason I'm copping flack for this, if you didn't know, is because I played and completed the first Doom, the 2018 or whatever it was, Doom, on Switch. And I really enjoyed it. I initially downloaded it just to see if it would work. It did. I turned off the motion blurring. I upped the sensitivity. And I got really into it because it was like a pure focused experience. It took away all the bells and whistles, all the particle effects. And it was just like this core jumping from enemy to enemy, which is kind of what I liked about the Doom, these new Doom remakes kind of thing. So I don't think I will be picking this up on Switch because I have played about a third, maybe a half of it on console, and I should go back to finish it there. But I would say there is something surprisingly interesting about playing a game without some of the distractions of the new world fancy. I'm fighting a losing battle here. I get it. We're in an era of ray tracing and next gen consoles. No one wants to hear me talk about how I think games look better when they look worse.
It's not even that. Like, the Switch is an amazing console, and there are games on the Switch that are worth playing. And yeah, I guess it's good that you have the option, but it's not good if the option is like this thing that barely runs, because it's not like throwing a bone to someone if it's like, here's this really poor version of the thing. It's like, just don't put it on there.
Look, it is it's funny. I will say the game is almost an overload. I played on a big TV, and the game is like, anyone who's playing Doom games, they are just hitting you, but in every sense of the word. It's like you are getting like visual and audio, like everything is just to the max. You're like, you finish a round and you put the controller down and you're shaking. Can't do that on Switch handheld mode. You're like, oh, this is cute. And it's like, you can focus on the levels. You can get through them. You can play better. But yes, I do think you're spot on.
I hadn't thought about that angle though, that the Switch makes Doom cute.
It makes it cute. It makes it less overwhelming than it can be. And I will also say it was like one of the first games, like a AAA port that I wanted to try. I hadn't played and finished or played through a AAA port on the Switch. You're right. Everything I'd played had been like Spiritfarer or a Mario game or a super cute, like an Ori comes out. I'm like, I'll wait for the Switch version because it'll look really nice on a small screen. I was like, I want to see if it can handle a chunky game. I downloaded The Witcher 3 last Christmas when it was on Netflix on the Switch to see if I could muck around with that because the save files were compatible. And I was like, that is unplayable. That is text. That is, people are just popping up in front of you. Like, it's amazing effort that they got it on that console, but it is not where you should be playing it. Whereas I think maybe Doom Eternal, give it a whirl. See what you think.
Yeah, nice.
You probably think it's trash.
I do. I'm against putting things on machines for the sake of it, because people get their hopes up and then are very disappointed and get a bad experience, and it's like, that was not worth it for anyone.
Okay, fair enough.
But anyway, that's it. That's everything.
That is it. That is all the news that we thought was worth your time, and some stuff that we thought wasn't worth your time, but we did it anyway.
We talked about it anyway.
We did. Well, we should just quickly tease before another wire gets cut in your house, or a Steph comes in again. We have a couple more things on this week. First and foremost, tonight at 8:30 p.m. on the Twitch channel, which of course is twitch.tv/back_pocket, we will be doing a gameplay stream of Immortals Phoenix Rising from the studio, because the game comes out tomorrow. We've got our hands on it. And if you saw on Tuesday, yesterday, we did a playback of it. Nick's dropped that on our YouTube channel, which of course is youtube.com/back pocket channel. You can watch a playthrough up to a certain point. We're going to pick that up and keep playing from it tonight. That'll be myself, Nick, and Steph. Pete will be pressing buttons on a mic as well. And that's going to be a gameplay casual chill-out stream. We're just going to hang out and play it for a couple of hours. We'll take questions from you guys. We'll chat with you guys as well. I think I'm going to be the one playing, which will be really nice. So
be fun.
We'll pass it around, I'm sure. But we'll be doing that from 8:30 tonight on the Twitch channel. Then, of course, Thursday, Peter. What happens Thursday?
Thursday is the main vanilla Back Pocket Tonight show. Make sure
Don't call it
there,
vanilla. We're all
your
white. That does not have the ring to it that it should.
Yeah, but vanilla's like 1.0.
It's
the main show.
I've got flagship show on my folders. So
flagship is good.
I like
flagship's good. We'll be doing flagship vanillas on Thursday
all
night
aboard
from 8 p.m. And it should be a fun one. We got some little extra pieces going in.
We do. It is still the season of giving back.
So Gus has done some more graphics and they're amazing.
I haven't finished it, so I might try and finish that today.
You got to finish it.
I do now. We will be moving on to the next phase of our Intel PC giveaway, which will be designing the art that is going to go on the PC itself. So we'll be taking suggestions from you guys, and I'll be designing kind of a mock-up live on the episode, and then we'll go back and I'll fix it up and get some nice decals printed and that. So if you want to be a part of that, we'll also probably be announcing, hopefully, the actual contest, which we will be able to get you guys to enter to win said PC. So make sure you tune in for that one Thursday night, I should say, at 8 p.m. On that Twitch channel as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to raid Patrick Rothfuss. And
cool.
He's doing a charity stream. Kit Carnage pointed it out. Patrick Rothfuss is an author of one of the greatest fantasy series that's out at the moment. It's still
Lord of the
all
Rings.
Out. He wrote Lord of the Rings. He looks like Gandalf. He's like potentially the greatest living fantasy writer.
My word.
His prose is beautiful.
Okay.
So we'll go and see what he's doing.
What are we going to say to him? Because the pressure's on.
Say the prose is beautiful.
The prose is beautiful. What do you mean by that for people who don't understand?
You mean you?
Me.
That he is the way that he writes is lovely. Just put it that way.
I've never heard it used said the prose is beautiful. I know people can.
That's true.
Yeah, so that confused me a little bit. So I was like, have I been using that word wrong my whole life? Which history will say, yes, I always have. Lovely.
Yeah, cool. All right, I'm going to set that up and we're going to back on out. Otherwise, I'm going to get in trouble.
Oh, yeah. Hope you don't get in trouble. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you tonight for the rest of the stream. And we will back out.